Hello, this is Haley from Starlight Cafe, and today we're going to be reviewing Spirited Away. Before we start, I'd like to make it known that Spirited Away is my favorite movie of all time, so I do have quite a bias, but I'm going to explain that bias, since that's, the whole point of reviews is talking about why you liked or didn't like something, or what you liked or didn't like about it. So, just wanted to throw that out there ahead of time. Also, as per usual, I'm going to give you a non-spoiler summary of the plot before we get started. So the non-spoiler way of describing Spirited Away is you have this little girl whose parents get turned into something not human, and the little girl, whose name is Chihiro, has to save her parents, and the way that she has to do that is she has to overcome her fears of this kind of otherworldly force that she's forced to deal with. That's probably the best way I can describe it without giving away too much. It's very fantasy, a lot of action, also some kind of disturbing imagery, but not disturbing in the sense that, say a crime documentary would show disturbing imagery, or a horror movie would show disturbing imagery, but disturbing, there are some visuals that are very strange to look at. I have one scene in particular off the top of my head that really fits the description of what I mean when I say disturbing to look at, but not in any particularly offensive fashion, just kind of gross or strange, crudely drawn, but in a purposeful way. But that said, with the exception of some blood splatter at one point, and that kind of strange art style that comes up here and there, I would say it's definitely a movie that you could probably show your kids. So with that out of the way, I'm going to give you to the count of 3, and then I'm going to start spoiling some things so that I can talk about my favorite movie of all time. 1, 2, 3. All right, thank you for those who are sticking around. So what inspired me to watch this movie for the very first time was I was watching some sort of video essay comparing Spirited Away to the movie that ended up overtaking Spirited Away in box office sales, Demon Slayer Infinity Train or something train. The movie with the train, right? It was a big deal at the time because it's like, oh my gosh, they finally surpassed Spirited Away. I think they're the highest ticket sales in Japan, or definitely not the world, right? I don't know. Anyway, very big deal surpassing Spirited Away. So somebody made a video essay on it, and I'd never seen Spirited Away. I'd only ever heard the name because of the whole Demon Slayer overtaking it thing. And then I seen the image of the train scene where Chihiro and her friends are on the train waiting to go to Swamp Bottom. And it was so captivating to me. I was like, oh, I gotta watch this movie. This is so beautiful. This art is amazing. And I think that's a big draw of this movie, is just the art is so whimsical, but also kind of eerie sometimes. If that makes any kind of sense. Spooky, maybe? Surreal, but just so whimsical and fantastical and beautiful. And same with the music. The music is so... I feel like the music is very one or the other. It's either epic and you really you feel like you're on this tremendous journey, or it's cozy and cute, pretty much any of the scenes in the bathhouse. With Chihiro, I really love the way she turned out, because she went from screaming and panicking the entire first, I want to say, half hour of the movie. She's worried about her parents. She's scared of these monsters or ghosts or spirits or whatever they are. She's she's panicking, you know, everything is a panic. She literally runs with her arms in the air and screams at like everything. And then like the further the movie goes on, you see her kind of buckle in and just be brave. You know, you can tell she's still scared, but she pushes forward, and eventually she gets this kind of confidence about her where it's like, yeah, I can handle this. I have faith in my own abilities, and I really respect and admire that. And then the way she's so kind-hearted to people. She helps that no face, which when before she knows anything about it, she helps the soot sprite when he drops that rock or coal or whatever it is. She helped Haku when he was badly hurt. She helped that river spirit when it had basically a landfill in its body, which was crazy. And then there's the acts of bravery, right? So there's the another kind thing she did was she gave No Face that medicine that she was going to use for her parents. But as far as acts of bravery, there's confronting No Face, standing up to Yubaba and Zeniba, even though she doesn't have, there's nothing she could have done, but she stood up for what she basically stood on what she needed to do anyway, which is why I would call that bravery, because she was obviously scared, but she pushed anyway, like with the asking for a job or doing the challenge for Yubaba, or standing up to Zeniba when Haku was hurt and Zeniba was, I don't remember if Zeniba was gonna hurt him or if she just kind of left him. I do want to talk about some of the symbolism that I saw in the movie, which is first of all, the most noticeable thing to me is it seems like there are some metaphors in here relating to kind of how humans are affecting the earth or nature. And I'll give a few examples off the top of my head, which would be, you've got at the beginning of the movie when the mom and dad walk up and just start eating food that they didn't make. It was not clear that somebody was selling it. And not only that, they didn't just eat a little bit. They ate that festival out of house and home, or at least that stand out of house and home, which was crazy. But if you don't want to use that as an example, because that is kind of like it's not the most relevant example. Bigger examples, I would say, are with the river spirit, where they thought it was a stink spirit because it was just this mass of garbage and junk, and only for it to be, oh no, it's a river spirit. It's just, I mean, even the stuff that came out was like, you got a bicycle, just random junk, this nasty brown goo, which might have been dirt with me thinking about it now. Also with Haku, where he forgot his name because the river was paved in and apartments were put there. Now, I believe that this is based off of real events. I did try to do a little bit of looking into it while I was rewatching the movie for the purposes of this review. It's not, I didn't do like heavy digging, but it seems like it's not confirmed that this is true. I couldn't find if the Kohaku River was a real place, but Google says that it is probably based off of a real place. And even if it's not, the message still stands. Another theme in there, I think Miyazaki, I believe Miyazaki's the one who wrote this, but I believe the writers were trying to make some sort of commentary about human greed as well, which may play a little bit into how we affect our environment, because we've gotten greedy with the amount of I guess for lack of a better word, denaturification, or kind of like, I guess you could say, like, think deforestation, but on a scale that is more than just forests. We're talking like just nature in general, right? We kind of clear all that stuff out of the way to make more room for us, houses, warehouse buildings, apartments, stores, malls, those types of things, right? Factories. And it is kind of greedy. Like, we're just taking over everything, and we're kind of killing the planet a little bit. Not to get too, I guess, political or whatever, but I don't think it's too hot of a take to say, yeah, if we get rid of all nature in the world, the planet is gonna kind of be awful, to keep it family friendly. Awful, right? Nobody wants that. Anybody who's ever lived like in a suburb or a city will tell you, well, at least especially where I live, right? When it gets hot, we wish that there was more trees, more shade, more nature, more grass, because all this pavement and asphalt and stuff, it really does just make everything hotter. It's just hot. It's too freaking hot out here, man. But maybe that's specific to my area, I don't know. And then you have characters like No Face and like the workers, right? The workers of the bathhouse. I don't know, by the way, what's the deal with them, if they're just like employees or if they're like kind of under some kind of contract, like Chihiro. I don't know what the deal is there. But I do think there's some kind of commentary on greed when it comes to them, because you've got No Face, who, when he starts giving people that gold, it's like the amount of food he was eating, and then he's eating people, and then he gets upset because Sen isn't giving him whatever it is that he wants, which I don't know what he wants from Sen, and maybe it's meant to not be too clear, but you do have Sen kind of being this antithesis to that greed. Everybody in there is so greedy that they'll start scrounging for specks, little teeny tiny specks of gold on like in between the floorboards. That was crazy when I seen that, and I really thought about it with the frog guy, like the first one that gets eaten. I'm like, wow, he really went in there with a needle and started scraping the dirt out in hopes that there were little tiny flakes of gold or something. That's crazy. But then you have like Sen or Chihiro, who's like, no, I don't really want that. I don't really need that. Thank you though. I appreciate that you want to be nice. Like, this is why I love Chihiro, favorite character of the whole movie. Maybe I'm crazy, but you guys let me know what you think in the comments. I really do think there's some kind of commentary there. I can't quite put my finger on it though. So I guess let's get into the characters. Obviously, I've talked about Chihiro quite a bit already. I like, her growth, her arc in this, right? She starts off like kind of helpless and afraid and panicky, and I think that's where this is a good part to talk about Haku, right? Pretty much the other main character of this. Well, maybe not main character, but one of the primary characters in this. Haku, I think, especially at the beginning, really serves as a good opposite, if you will, to Chihiro. A foil, juxtaposition, whatever you want to call it. He's kind of like the opposite of Chihiro, where he's calm and collected, and he's confident, and he's, okay, here's what you're gonna do, here's what you need to do. Very unafraid, handles the situation like as it happens. I think that really does a service to Chihiro's arc, because come end of the movie, she's like a whole different character, a lot more like, I would say, Haku, maybe even like better than Haku, but definitely very much like him in the way that she changes and becomes more confident and unafraid. And then we've got Kamaji, who I would say is probably the MVP of the movie, save for maybe Chihiro. Because to be fair, Chihiro is the main character, the person that we're following, the protagonist, if you will. But outside of the protagonist, I would say Kamaji is definitely like the MVP. You know, he helps Chihiro get a job. He covers for her, which I guess you could say like pretty much the entire supporting, like protagonist support. I can't think of a better terminology here, but pretty much the entire supporting cast kind of does all those same things. But maybe I have a bias because I really like Kamaji. He's kind of like a nice grandpa or something. And also I really like the Soot Sprites, and they're not really like their own character. I feel like they're kind of an extension of Kamaji. The parents are so irresponsible. Like when they go through the tunnel, and Chihiro's like, I don't want to go out there. I don't want to go through there. And they're like, okay, just stay at the car. What? What do you mean stay at the car? In the middle of the woods? By herself? No. Oh, what are you talking about? And then they just walk right up to this stand and just start eating away. Oh, daddy's got credit cards. Bro, what do you mean? What if that wasn't for you? And it wasn't. Like, and then come into the movie, they just don't know what happened. They're like, oh, why is my car covered in dust and dirt and tree stuff? And it's like, you have no clue what you've been through. Y'all deserve to be turned into pigs, I'm not gonna lie. But maybe I'm being hard on them, I don't know. That's just how I feel. Before I start talking about Yubaba, because I do feel like there's something to be said there, let's talk about Lin really quick. I feel like Lin gives older sister to Chihiro. Giving her a hard time, but also like, okay, here's some sisterly advice for you. Here, let me help you. You know? That's how I feel about Lin. So let's talk about Yubaba. Actually, I guess before that, I'll talk about the other characters that I have nothing to say about. The baby, I have nothing to say about. The birds, I have nothing to say about. Zeniba, not really that relevant to me. Like, she's relevant, but there's not really a whole lot that I have to say about her. Actually, there's nothing. I have nothing to say about Zeniba. I don't care. As a matter of fact, to be honest, I was more interested in the hopping lamp than I was in Zeniba. But to be fair, that's because the second Ghibli movie I ever watched after Spirited Away was Howl's Moving Castle, and the hopping lamp makes me think of the Scarecrow. So maybe that's why. Zeniba, I just don't care. And I'll pretty much take that with any other character from this point forward. Is like, if I did not mention them by name, that's because there's not really anything for me to say. So let's talk about Yubaba. Yubaba, I feel like Yubaba was a really good antagonist to me because she always had a presence in the movie. Like, from start to, well, not from the start, but from the moment conflict starts, she is the thing that you're worried about. She is the thing, the obstacle that gets in the way, or she is in some way involved, right? So you've got, she's searching overhead and Chihiro's hiding from her when she's in her bird form. And then you've got Chihiro needing to ask for a job, and Yubaba is trying not to give her that job, but she took an oath, so she has to, right? All right, I'm going to put you to work. I'm going to give you the hardest job. You're going to clean this bath that hasn't been cleaned in who knows how long, right? And we're going to give you the most difficult customer. We're going to give you a stink spear. All right, you need to take care of No Face. All right, this, that. And it's like, she's just always present. She's always, and I feel like she exists to make Chihiro grow. I'm not saying that, like, that's how, if Yubaba were a person, like, I don't think Yubaba the character is trying to make Chihiro grow, but I think from a writing perspective, Yubaba exists to push Chihiro further or forward in her arc in growing, because everything that everything that Chihiro does, she does as a direct result of something that Yubaba did, turning her parents into pigs. Uh, the like I said with the bath thing, that was an assignment given to her by Yubaba. Having to take care of the no face, like do something about that. And for that matter, even uh, Haku's curse or sickness or whatever, you know, it it gets revealed that the little evil slug thing was from Yubaba trying to control him, not from Zeniba protecting her seal or whatever it was. I think Yubaba is a phenomenal antagonist. That's all that I have for this one. To reiterate, favorite movie of all time, beautiful artwork, great cast, great character arc from our main character, great antagonist, just a wonderful, wonderful movie. I always get so excited watching this movie. It really does just get me a little bit emotional. I don't know if it's the music, or if it's just how beautiful the art is, or if it's that the English voice actors did a really good job, or if the writing is just good. I just love this movie. And if you're into, I would say, if you're into fantasy and adventure, kind of adventure, I can't think of a better genre to describe other than fantasy and adventure, then this is definitely something you should check out. Though I'm assuming if you're still here, you probably have already seen it or don't care about spoilers, in which case, watch this movie. It's so good. I think everyone who enjoys anime for anything other than the fights, like, there's no fights in this. Well, kind of. There's basically no fights in this. So, if you only watch, like, say, for example, like Dragon Ball Z, Jujutsu Kaisen, like anime where it's specifically you're watching it for the fighting. Not to say that those anime have nothing to offer but fighting, but just giving examples so you understand what I mean. Uh, if you watch anime for anything other than fighting, this movie is a must watch to me. But again, I'm biased in that. So, thank you for sticking around and listening to me yap. I hope you enjoyed. Leave a comment down below. What did you like or dislike about this movie? What's your favorite Ghibli movie? Or what's your favorite movie? I can't wait to see you guys next time. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.